We took a vow in summertime, now we find ourselves in late December. I believe that New Year's Eve will be the perfect time for
Holy mackerel, I get a little dizzy right there. I get my bearings. Welcome back. This is Vampire Weekend, Harmony Hall. Vampire Weekend. True story. I was supposed to go see Vampire Weekend up in Vermont, live concert show. And then the COVID hit, of course, ruined my trip to go see the show. So I didn't end up getting to go. I had bought my wife tickets for Christmas last year. That's how far in advance we had planned this thing. Couldn't go because of the Covey Cove. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully I'll get to see Vampire Weekend again in the future. That would be neat. Welcome back. Today's class, we're still in our sort of exploration of these great social sciences over here. You've watched the video on what it means to be a historian, a geographer, an anthropologist. We even covered what an economist does. And today, we'll just shift gears into our next social science that you need to learn about, and that is sociology. And of course, the scientist that studies sociology is called a sociologist. The word sociology, let me just zoom in a little bit closer here. Sound effects, gotta love them. If we look at the word sociology really closely, we can see some root word and base word stuff going on, right? Obviously, we know that this is going to be in the study of, and then here, right, soci, we should think, well, what other words do we know that start with S-O-C-I? And of course, the one that will probably pop into your head probably fairly quickly, if not first, is the word society. So sociology is basically the study of the development and structure and function of society. But what is society? Right? Before we get that big definition down, what do we really mean by society in the first place? A society is more than one person interacting. That could be as few as 2 people. It could be as many as 1 million people, right? But a society is simply more than one person interacting. So this is human interaction. So when we talk about studying sociology, what we're really talking about is studying human interaction and the development and structure and function of that interaction. So the big definition, the study of the development and function of human interaction. And what types of things do we want to include in our sociological study? One of the things that sociologists sort of take a look at is this enduring question. An enduring question, similar to an enduring issue, is a question that endures over many different time periods and many different societies. That's what makes it an enduring issue. And one of the big enduring issues that sort of takes place from a sociological perspective is which wags which. Does society affect people? Or do the people affect society? And of course, what we'll probably find is that it's a little bit of a sharing of responsibility there between the people, the individuals in a society, right? And the way that society makes those individuals react. We'll watch a Seinfeld episode here in a minute. We'll talk a little bit more about maybe some specific examples in just a moment. But in the meantime, One of the big topics that sociologists like to debate is this idea of nature versus nurture. Are we the way that we are because of some natural things that happen, sort of a genetic predisposition of our personality, right? Our genes that we inherit, heredity. Are we the way that we are? Do we behave the way that we behave because of something that we're pre-built to do that already exists inside us? Or is there a nurture piece where the people around us affect our behavior and make us the way that we are? Our parents, our friends, all of these people that surround us. And sociologists love to debate that, right? So like the big topic of debate is, geez, do people behave the way they behave because we're predispositioned to behave that way, or do we behave the way that we behave because the people that surround us have sort of programmed us through these sociological effects of this human interaction, have programmed us to behave a certain way? Probably like one of the great examples of this sociological question might be, the famous Dave Chappelle skit where if you had a baby, right? If you have a baby born into a low socioeconomic background, maybe a tough inner city environment, right? Is that baby more likely to be involved in crime or drug use, right? And then, of course, the big sociological debate would be, well, does that kid have sort of a predisposition to be involved in drugs or violent behavior? Or is it the fact that they're growing up in that sociological situation where they're growing up in the inner city and they're growing up in maybe a place where violence and drug use might be more prevalent? Maybe they see others do it, maybe it gets modeled, and perhaps it's society that's really affecting that person to get involved with drugs or violent type behaviors, right? And so that's the great debate of sociology. I just want to click over real quick, if you'll be patient with me, we'll click over to a Seinfeld clip real quick. Just another example of sociological effect. Here's a great Seinfeld clip on a close talker, right? It's not normally socially acceptable when you speak with someone to invade their personal space, and it gets really awkward when you do that. So let's see. We roll the video here.
So, Elaine, you don't have a problem with her, do you?
We adore Elaine.
She wants to say hi. She's with her new boyfriend.
What's he like?
He's nice, bit of a close talker.
A what?
You'll see. Boy, I really had no idea that you felt this way about the Costanzas.
They're exhausting. It's like being in an asylum.
This is Erin.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron. So how long are you folks in town?
3 more days, and then we're off to Paris.
We're going with the Select Charter Group.
I love France. I was just there last year. In fact, I still have an envelope full of French francs.
There we go. There's the clip, right? So a sociologist would say, Aaron there really talks abnormally close to people than what's normally acceptable in a social setting, right? It gets very awkward if somebody leans in really close to you. If I were to teach the class, like this would be really awkward over time. And we learn through our social behavior patterns, through interacting with other people, we learn that being that close when you are interacting with people is not socially appropriate, right? It's just not socially appropriate. It's not a social norm. So that's the type of stuff that sociologists cover. That pretty much does it for today. You heard the bell. You don't have to go because you're probably at home. But I got to go because it's time for my next class. Adios.